What if you could step inside your own mind and meet the person you are truly meant to be? This is a guided journey into the lucid dream adventure of the Palace of Mirrors, a place where every reflection reveals a hidden part of your inner world. By the end of this, you will possess a map to navigate your own subconscious and uncover a profound truth about yourself. We will explore why some mirrors show only masks, while others reveal our deepest regrets and most powerful desires. What part of yourself are you most curious to finally meet? That sudden, quiet certainty changes everything. You are dreaming and you know it. This awareness is the key that unlocks the door. To find this moment, begin with a simple habit in your waking life. Several times a day, pause and ask yourself, am I dreaming right now? Then perform a reality check. Try to push the index finger of one hand straight through the palm of the other. In waking life, your finger will stop. In a dream, it often passes right through, a strange and wonderful sensation that confirms your state. This practice trains your mind to perform the same check while you sleep, triggering that vital spark of lucidity. Your intention is your compass. As you drift to sleep tonight, plant a single, clear thought in your mind. I will realize I am dreaming. I will find the Palace of Mirrors. Repeat it with quiet conviction, letting it be the last conscious thought you hold. When the realization does dawn and the dream world sharpens into focus, the greatest challenge is to remain calm. A surge of excitement can jolt you awake. Breathe. Do not fight the feeling, but gently acknowledge it and let it settle. To stabilize this newfound reality, engage your senses. Look at your own hands, tracing the lines on your palms. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet, whether it is cool grass or smooth stone. Listen for the subtle sounds of the dreamscape, a distant whisper of wind or the echo of your own breath. Rub your hands together, focusing on the sensation of warmth and friction. This simple act roots you firmly in the dream, transforming it from a fleeting image into a world you can truly step into and explore. The ground feels soft and yielding beneath your feet as you step forward. You are standing at the edge of a vast, misty wood, the air cool and thick with the scent of damp earth. This is the threshold, the forest of your own subconscious mind. The trees are ancient and towering, their branches weaving a canopy that filters the light into a soft, dreamlike glow. A path, barely visible, winds away into the deepening shadows. It does not run straight. It curves and doubles back on itself, as if reflecting the winding nature of your own thoughts. As you walk, the mist seems to cling to you, and from within it you begin to hear them. They are not loud voices, but subtle whispers that thread through the silence. A familiar doubt about a decision you are facing, a quiet fear of not being enough, a recent regret that still lingers. These are not monsters to be slain, but echoes of your waking life given form. The instinct might be to run, to argue with them, or to find a way to force the path straight. But the true lesson of this wood is not about battle, it is about understanding. These whispers are not your enemies, they are parts of you asking to be heard. When a whisper of inadequacy brushes against your mind, do not shout it down. Instead, pause, acknowledge its presence, say to yourself, yes, I feel this fear sometimes. This simple act of acknowledgement does not give the fear power. It robs it of its power to control you from the shadows. The twisted path is not a maze designed to trap you. It is a reflection of your inner landscape, and the only reliable guide is your own intuition. Do not look for signs in the trees. Look for the quiet pull in your chest, the subtle knowing that tells you to turn left here or to step over that gnarled root. Trust that feeling. With each step taken in trust, the mist begins to thin just a little. The whispers do not necessarily stop, but they lose their sharp edge, softening into a background murmur that no longer dictates your direction. You are learning to walk with your doubts, not against them. This is the first and most profound wisdom of the palace. Acceptance is the key that unlocks the path forward. And as the trees finally begin to part, what new sight awaits you in the clearing ahead? The trees part, revealing a sight that steals your breath. It is not a building of stone and mortar, but a living sculpture of liquid silver and polished moonlight. The Palace of Mirrors rises from the clearing, an immense and shimmering structure whose spires seem to touch the dream sky itself. Its surface flows and shifts in a slow, hypnotic dance, as if the entire facade is breathing. There is no solid door, only a vast, shimmering portal of light that serves as the grand entrance, pulsing with a soft, inviting glow. Your first feeling might be one of profound intimidation, standing before a monument to your own soul. Or perhaps it is a deep, resonant sense of wonder, a feeling of finally arriving at a destination you have been searching for your entire life. This is not a place you have simply found. It is a place that has been waiting for you. The very architecture seems to respond to your presence, the subtle shifts in its liquid form hinting at a direct connection to your innermost self. This palace is a perfect reflection of your psyche, and its halls will be entirely unique to your journey. What mysteries do you suppose its shifting walls are preparing to show you? The grand portal of light envelops you, and you step through into a hall of impossible dimensions. Countless mirrors line the walls from floor to a distant, unseen ceiling, but these are not ordinary-looking glasses. Each one reflects a version of you, yet none show your physical form as you know it. This is the Hall of 1,000 Faces. In one mirror, you see the assured, composed face of the professional you present at work, a mask of calm competence. In the next, the vulnerable, uncertain eyes of a child stare back, a part of you that still seeks reassurance. Further down, the reflection of a weary caregiver looks out, shoulders heavy with the invisible weight of responsibility for others. These are your personas, the many faces you wear to navigate the different worlds of your waking life. In the wisdom of psychology, the persona is like a mask worn for society, a necessary costume for playing your various roles. The confident leader, the reliable friend, the patient parent, each one is a facet of you developed for a purpose. But the profound truth of this hall is that while these faces are parts of you, not one of them is the complete, authentic self. They are tools, not the craftsman. The key here is not to shatter the masks or to feel ashamed of them. Their existence is natural. The wisdom is in the observation. Stand before the mirror of the tireless achiever. Acknowledge the drive it represents, but also feel the deep exhaustion that maintaining that face requires. Look into the eyes of the perpetual peacemaker. Recognize its desire for harmony, but also see the quiet resentment that can build when its own needs are never voiced. When was the last time you consciously took off one of these masks and simply let yourself be without any role to play? As you walk through this silent gallery, do not judge the reflections. Do not try to claim one as the real you or reject another as false. Simply watch them. Understand that each one serves a function, and each one demands a certain energy to keep in place. This act of non-judgmental awareness is a form of liberation. It is the first step toward distinguishing the costume from the person wearing it, the role from the actor. And as you reach the far end of this hall of echoes, a new, darker archway beckons you forward. A deeper, darker archway waits at the end of the Hall of Faces. The air grows colder here, and the light from the grand hall fades to a dim, smoky glow. This is the corridor of whispers and regrets. The walls are lined not with clear silver, but with tarnished mirrors, their surfaces clouded as if by a century of dust and smoke. Your own reflection is fractured here, broken into shadowy impressions. You do not see your full face, only glimpses, a downcast eye, a hand clenched in a forgotten moment of tension. A shoulder turning away. These mirrors do not show you who you are, but what you wish you could forget. They hold the echoes of past mistakes, the sharp sting of words you cannot take back, the quiet humiliations that still make you flinch years later. And from the glass itself, you hear them, not the vague doubts of the forest, but specific, pointed whispers. You should have known better, you always ruin things. Why did you say that? These are the voices of your own inner critic, the part of you that clings to shame and replays your faults on an endless, painful loop. The instinct is immediate and powerful. Look away, shut your eyes, run back to the brighter halls, but the true power of this corridor lies in resisting that instinct. The wisdom here is not to erase these memories, but to face them with a new kind of courage. The goal is not to argue with the whispers or to prove them wrong. It is to listen to them with compassion. Stand before one of these smoky mirrors. Let the memory surface, not as a weapon to hurt yourself with, but as a moment from your past that is asking for your attention. That argument where you lost your temper, that opportunity you were too afraid to take, that person you let down, observe the scene playing out in the hazy glass. See your past self in that difficult moment, not as a villain, but as a person who was doing the best they could with the knowledge and emotional tools they had at the time. That version of you was likely scared or hurt or simply unaware. Can you offer that younger self the same understanding you might offer a dear friend who came to you with the same story? This is the profound shift. You are not your regrets. You are the person who lived through them and carries their weight. By facing these shadowy reflections without turning away, you are not validating the shame. You are draining its power. You are saying, I see this part of my history. I accept that it happened. I release the need to continue punishing myself for it. With this act of compassionate observation, something subtle begins to change. The whispers do not stop, but their tone softens from a harsh accusation to a sad story. The smoky surface of the mirror might even clear just a little, allowing you to see the memory for what it truly was, a lesson, not a life sentence. This is the beginning of self-forgiveness. It is not an excuse for past actions, but a necessary release of the emotional chain that binds you to them. Each tarnished mirror you face in this corridor lightens a burden you have carried for far too long. And as you walk further, the darkness itself begins to feel less oppressive, as if making space for a different kind of light ahead. The oppressive chill of the corridor finally gives way to a gentle, enveloping warmth. You step through the archway into a chamber bathed in a soft, golden light that seems to emanate from the very walls. This is the chamber of unspoken desires, and the air itself feels alive with a quiet, humming potential. The mirrors here are not tarnished or fractured, but smooth and radiant, each one holding a reflection that feels less like an image and more like a promise. You look into one and see not your face, but a vision of your hands skillfully shaping clay on a potter's wheel, a passion you dismissed as impractical years ago. In another, you see yourself standing on a windswept cliff overlooking an ocean you have always dreamed of visiting, a longing you never voice because life seems too busy. A third shows you laughing deeply with a kind of friend you wish you had, a connection that feels missing from your daily routine. These are not the loud, ego-driven wants of fleeting whims. These are the quiet, persistent whispers of your soul, the parts of you that know what would bring you profound joy and fulfillment, often buried under the heavy weight of responsibility and expectation. We spend so much of our lives listening to the external chorus of what we should do, who we should be, and what constitutes a sensible path. We build our days around obligations, and in the process, we gently push these core desires into a dusty corner of our subconscious, telling ourselves there simply is not time, or it is not important, or it is just a silly dream. But here, in this golden light, there is no judgment for having these yearnings. Their very existence is proof of a vibrant, essential part of you that is still alive and calling out. The wisdom of this chamber is not to demand you drop everything and chase every vision. It is a far more gentle, yet equally powerful, invitation to simply acknowledge them. To look directly at the reflection of the writer, the adventurer, the community builder, or the quiet contemplative within you, and to say, I see you. I hear you, you matter. This act of recognition is a revolutionary act of self-respect. It is the first and most critical step toward integration. When you return to your waking life, you carry this awareness with you. That buried desire to create does not need to manifest as quitting your job to become a full-time artist. It can begin with dedicating 20 minutes on a Sunday to sketching or signing up for a local pottery class. The yearning for deeper connection might start with mustering the courage to invite a coworker for coffee or joining a book club. By acknowledging these unspoken parts, you give them permission to breathe, to take up a little space in your conscious world. You begin to weave threads of your true passions into the fabric of your daily existence, and in doing so, you move from a life of mere function to one of authentic fulfillment. What small, golden thread could you pull from this chamber and bring back into your waking world? A profound silence fills the circular room at the very heart of the palace. After the echoing halls of faces and the charged corridors of memory, this space feels different. It is empty save for a single pedestal, and upon it rests not a mirror of glass, but what appears to be a wide, shallow basin filled with a liquid so clear it is almost invisible. This is the nexus, the mirror of the true self. Its surface is perfectly still, a pool of absolute calm. You look into it expecting to see your face, but you see nothing. No mask, no regret, no unfulfilled dream stares back. There is only a quiet, empty clarity. The central challenge of this entire journey is here, and it is not about finding something, but about becoming nothing for a moment. To see your true reflection, you must first become as still as the water itself. The internal chatter begins immediately. The voice of the achiever whispers that you should be doing this better. The echo from the corridor of regrets mutters that you are not worthy of such a sight. The golden desires from the previous chamber hum with their enticing distractions. Your mind is a crowded room, and every persona, every fear, every want is vying for attention, clouding the water with their ripples. The instruction is simple, yet it demands everything. Do not fight the noise. Do not yell at the voices to be silent. That is just adding more noise. Instead, you must simply observe them. Acknowledge the achiever's comment and let it pass by like a cloud. Notice the regret's pang and watch it dissolve. See the desire's pull and gently release your hold on it. This is a meditation of the deepest kind, a conscious letting go of every identity you have ever clung to. Your breath becomes your anchor. With each slow exhalation, you release another layer of the self you thought you were. You are not your job title. You are not your past mistakes. You are not even your deepest passions. These are things you have and things you have done, but they are not the essence of who you are. As this shedding occurs, a remarkable shift takes place. The mental static begins to fade, the crowded room empties out, and in that newfound, vast silence, the surface of the pool remains perfectly still. Then something forms within it. It is not a face with features you would recognize. It is a feeling, a sensation of pure, essential being. It is the consciousness that has been observing this entire journey, the silent witness behind all your experiences. This is the core self, the you that exists before any story, any role, or any emotion is added. It feels like a quiet, radiant peace. It feels like coming home after a very long journey. This is the ultimate wisdom the palace has to offer. You are not the thoughts that pass through your mind. You are not the feelings that surge in your heart. You are the awareness that holds them all. You are the space in which the entire drama of your life unfolds. This realization does not erase your personas or your history or your desires. Instead, it puts them in their proper place. They become content while you are the context. They are the waves and you are the ocean. This connection is fleeting, a brief touch of eternity, but its impact is permanent. How will this knowledge of the silent watcher within you change the way you navigate the noisy world waiting for you when you wake? A faint, discordant sound draws you away from the nexus, a quiet cracking like distant ice. It leads you to a narrow, forgotten alcove tucked behind a heavy velvet curtain you had not noticed before. The air here is charged and heavy, tasting of ozone and old metal. And there, resting against the rough-hewn wall, is a mirror unlike any you have encountered. Its silver surface is a web of fractures, 1,000 jagged lines radiating from a central point of impact. This is the mirror of the shattered self. In each sharp fragment, a distorted reflection glares back at you. One sliver shows a face contorted by a rage so pure it frightens you. Another holds eyes narrowed with bitter, calculating envy. A third reflects a posture of suffocating pride, an arrogance you would never admit to in the light of day. These are not the quiet regrets of the corridor or the golden desires of the chamber. These are your shadow aspects, the raw, untamed emotions and impulses you have been taught to hide, to deny, to lock away in the deepest cellar of your psyche. Your entire body screams to turn away, to retreat to the peaceful clarity of the nexus. This is the primal instinct to disown what we fear in ourselves. But the palace has brought you here for a reason. Running only gives the shadow more power. It grows in the darkness of neglect, becoming the unseen puppeteer of your worst reactions, the source of the sharp comment you cannot take back, the irrational resentment toward a friend's success, the stubborn refusal to admit you are wrong. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung called this the shadow self, the repository of all the traits we deem unacceptable. We think we are hiding them from the world, but in truth, we are only hiding them from ourselves. The courage required now is not to fight these monsters, but to sit with them. Choose one fragment, perhaps the one that holds your jealousy. Do not look at it as a flaw, but as a disowned part of you that holds immense, untapped energy. Why is it here? What is it trying to protect? Often, jealousy is not about the other person at all. It is a distorted signal pointing toward a deep, unfulfilled desire within you. That envy of a colleague's promotion might be your own ambition, your own need for recognition, crying out in a twisted, ugly form because you have refused to acknowledge it directly. Look at the angry face in the glass. Speak to it, not with condemnation, but with curiosity. What injustice is it so fiercely reacting to? What boundary was crossed that you failed to defend in your waking life? This raw anger is a powerful force for protection and change, but when left in the shadows, it only emerges as uncontrolled outbursts or silent, festering bitterness. By facing it, you are not becoming an angry person. You are reclaiming the righteous energy of anger and bringing it under your conscious guidance. This is the alchemy of integration. You gently take the shattered fragment of pride from the mirror. You do not absorb its arrogance, but you acknowledge the fragile, wounded self-esteem that it was built to protect. In your hand, the sharp glass loses its jagged edge, softening and warming until it becomes a smooth, dark stone, heavy with potential. This is its energy returned to you. Each reclaimed piece makes you more whole, more real, less at the mercy of the unconscious triggers that once ruled you. You are not collecting flaws. You are gathering lost parts of your soul. The shadow, when integrated, does not make you darker. It makes you more substantial, more resilient, and paradoxically, more compassionate, for you recognize the same universal struggles in everyone you meet. What fears have you locked away that are secretly waiting for your acknowledgement to transform into strength? The heavy weight of the transformed shadow stones feels solid and reassuring in your pocket. A deep sense of completion settles over you, a quiet knowing that the most challenging work of this journey is done. As you turn to find your way back, a soft chime rings through the palace, clear and pure like a crystal bell. It draws your gaze to a small, simple mirror you had somehow overlooked, nestled in an archway leading out. Its frame is plain, its glass holds no fractured past or glowing future. It simply shows you a single, perfect image. It might be a fox sitting calmly, its eyes holding a knowing glint. It could be an old iron key resting on a velvet cloth. Perhaps it is a blooming lotus flower or a spiraling nautilus shell, or even a simple, unadorned cup. This symbol is not a memory or a mask. It is a gift, a final token of wisdom from the palace itself, crafted by your own subconscious for the person you are becoming. It is a condensed message, a single word from the soul's language, meant specifically for your waking life. The fox does not merely represent cleverness, but perhaps the need for more subtlety and discernment in a complex situation you are facing. The key is not just an object, but an answer to a question you have been asking about what unlocks your next chapter. The lotus is not just a flower, but a reminder that your greatest growth can emerge from your most difficult challenges. This symbol is a bridge. It is the palace's way of giving you something tangible to carry back from this abstract world into the solid reality of your morning coffee and daily commute. Your task now is to remember it before you wake. Impress this image upon your mind. Trace its lines with your attention. Feel its presence. When you open your eyes, your first action should be to write it down or sketch it, no matter how crude the drawing. Place this note somewhere you will see it often. Then, live with the symbol, let it work on you. Ask it questions. What qualities does this fox, this key, this cup embody? How is it asking me to see the world differently? How can I invite its energy into my decisions today? The meaning will not always arrive as a lightning bolt of understanding. It may unfold slowly over days or weeks, revealing its layers as you need them. It is a personal compass calibrated to your inner north, and it will guide you long after the details of the dream have faded. What single, potent image is waiting in that final mirror to become your guide? The time to leave the palace arrives not as a command, but as a gentle, internal knowing. You feel a soft pull, a signal that your journey within is complete for now. Do not fight this pull or try to cling to the shimmering walls. Instead, turn your focus back to the self you left behind, the one sleeping in a bed in the waking world. Consciously hold the intention to return. Feel the weight of your physical body, the sensation of the blanket, the rhythm of your own breath. Allow the dreamscape to soften and fade around you, like a beautiful painting dissolving into mist, carrying the profound stillness of the nexus with you as you go. The transition back is a delicate bridge. When you first become aware that you are awake, your most crucial task is to remain perfectly still. Do not open your eyes. Do not move to check the time. For those first few precious moments, your dream memories are like fading ink on a page. Any sudden movement, any shift into the day's demands will cause them to blur and vanish. Lie in the quiet darkness and gently retrace your steps. Start with the last thing you remember, perhaps the personal symbol from the final mirror. Then work your way backward. The feeling of the shadow stones in your pocket, the golden light of the chamber of desires, the cold air of the corridor of regrets, the many faces in the grand hall. Replay the entire adventure like a cherished film in your mind. Only when you feel you have gathered as many fragments as possible should you slowly reach for a notebook or a voice recorder. Write down everything, not in perfect sentences, but in a flowing stream of details. The scent of the forest mist, the texture of a tarnished mirror, the exact shape of your symbolic gift. This act of recording is not just about preserving a memory. It is an act of honoring the wisdom you received. This is where the true magic happens, where the dream adventure transforms into real-world change. That walk through the hall of 1,000 faces does not end when you open your eyes. It continues the next time you are in a meeting or a social gathering. You will find yourself noticing the mask of the confident professional on a colleague, and perhaps you will see the flicker of uncertainty in their eyes behind it. This awareness breeds compassion for them and for yourself. You might consciously choose to take off your own mask of the tireless achiever for an evening, giving yourself permission to be simply quiet and unproductive, understanding that you are more than your output. The forgiveness you practiced in the corridor of whispers fundamentally alters your inner voice. When an old regret surfaces during your day, instead of the familiar spiral of self-criticism, you might hear a gentler, more compassionate response. Yes, that happened. I learned from it. I release it now. This is not just positive thinking. It is the lived experience of having faced that memory in the palace and having chosen to leave its heavy weight behind. The journey through the palace gives you a new internal map. You are no longer lost in the forest of your own subconscious, terrified of the whispers. You have walked its paths, you have met your many selves, from the shattered shadows to the silent core, and you have brought pieces of them back with you. You carry the palace within you now, not as a distant memory, but as a living, breathing part of who you are becoming. This entire journey through the shimmering halls was a map of your own inner world. You learn to observe the many faces you wear without becoming them, understanding that the mask is a tool, not the master. You found the courage to face the tarnished mirrors of regret, not to live in their shame, but to release their weight through compassion. You allowed the golden light of your unspoken desires to be seen, honoring them as essential whispers of your soul. And in the silent heart of the nexus, you touched the profound truth that you are the awareness behind it all, the timeless witness to the ever-changing story of your life. These are not separate lessons from a distant dream. They are a unified wisdom, a single lens through which to see your entire existence. Your waking life is the living palace of mirrors. The colleague who irritates you is a mirror, reflecting a shadow aspect you have not yet made peace with. A sudden surge of joy at a simple sunrise mirrors the deep, quiet desire for beauty you acknowledged in the golden chamber. A moment of conflict at home can become a corridor of regret, but now you have the choice to face it with understanding rather than turning away. Every single day presents you with reflections. The question is no longer whether you are in the palace, but whether you are choosing to see with the eyes of a lucid dreamer. Will you react to the world on autopilot, wearing old masks and carrying old burdens? Or will you pause, breathe, and remember the stillness of the nexus, recognizing that you are the space in which this entire life is unfolding? This is the ultimate adventure, the one that continues from the moment you open your eyes. We would be honored to hear about your own journeys. What symbol did the palace leave for you? What reflection in your waking life recently revealed a hidden part of yourself? Share your discoveries in the comments below. And if you're ready to explore more landscapes of the mind, subscribe for our next journey into wisdom.